Ask a stranger, what do you think of online dating? What are they going to tell you? I hate online dating. Online dating sucks. Men suck, women suck, profiles suck, everybody's stupid, everybody lies. Guys are in such a rush to meet. Nobody has anything interesting to say. This is the going wisdom about online dating, evidently. Now, I understand that. I will acknowledge that. I dated online for many years. I'm a dating coach, so I understand. At the same time, complaining that online dating sucks is kind of like complaining that the gym's not helping you lose weight. Right? I mean, it's not the gym's job. Think about it. Some gyms have better equipment, some gyms have better classes, but ultimately, whether you lose weight is not up to the gym, it's you. How often do you work out? How effectively, how intensely do you work out? So as we frame today's discussion, I just want you to consider not what's wrong with online dating, which is valid, but rather what am I doing to yield the best possible results in online dating? That's what we can control. So I'm an unusual messenger for a number of reasons, not in the least of the fact that I loved online dating. I mean, I'm that one guy who's like, man, I love that crap. I moved to LA, I was 24, 25 years old. I was a writer. I worked from home, wasn't big on the club or the bar scene. So for me, this was a natural fit. The same people that I didn't necessarily have the courage or access to approach in real life, I could talk to them online just by being cute and friendly. And so I dated, no exaggeration, 300 people over the course of 10 years of online dating before I got married. I say with a mixture of pride and embarrassment. So I had such a wonderful experience, such a unique experience, that I started to coach this stuff. Right? And now for over a decade, I've been helping people fall in love using online dating. I work with women, smart, strong, successful women from around the world of all ages, helping them fall in love. I've helped a 41-year-old woman in a wheelchair, a woman who's 80 pounds overweight, a woman who's 65, never been on a date before. These are my real clients who fell in love using the online dating system that I'm going to share with you today. So if I sound somewhat evangelical about my own stuff, the reason why is that I've seen it work over and over and over again, and I'm very confident that it's going to work for you. So what's wrong with online dating? To me, it's not the online portion of online dating. It's the dating part of online dating. It's the bad first date. You know what I'm talking about. Someone has to know what I'm talking about. You get dressed up, you drive across town, you sit at the coffee shop, and 2 minutes into the date, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Why does this happen to me over and over again? How do I keep on meeting these freaks? Right? I know the answer to that question. I bet you know the answer to that question. Right? It's instant gratification. We're an instant gratification society. We're texting, we're Tinder. How quickly can we make this stuff happen? That's why you go on bad blind dates over and over and over again. Right? So I want to posit today that if you listen to what I'm about to share with you, you're going to go on fewer bad dates, better first dates, and you're going to move offline from the dating site in less than a week. That's not a tremendous time investment to ensure a higher quality experience. Yet this isn't the way most people approach online dating. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of how to do this, let's establish one thing. Guys are terrible at online dating. I mean, you don't even know how bad guys are at online dating. I hate to throw my whole gender under the bus, but let's roll them over. Right? I told a client that I was doing this presentation. I said, send me a picture of your inbox. I had no idea exactly what I was going to get in return, but this totally validated everything. 289 messages. Subject headers. Hello. Hi. Hi. None. Hello. Hi. You are gorgeous. You so beautiful. Very attractive. This is what women are dealing with. Could you imagine? Right? They have to make the best of that. Now, we know intellectually that not all guys are bad. This doesn't mean these men are not relationship-oriented or intelligent. There's something about the way people use this medium that isn't working. Right? So we have to figure out, what are these guys doing? Why do they do this? Let's put ourselves in their shoes, and let's have some sympathy for these guys. The reason we're talking about why guys are so bad at online dating is that they're the aggressors. Right? They're the ones who have to put themselves out. So it's going to be a lot more obvious when they're screwing up than women. So for women who get very scornful of men, have a little sympathy for these poor schmucks. Right? They're doing the best they can. It's just not very good. guys get online, they see a bunch of attractive photos, and again, we're instant gratification. Dating site gives you the option of doing the free wink. You know the free wink? So what do guys do? Wink, 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 wink. You're a woman, you got 289 emails. You're going to pay attention to the guy who winked at you? No, you're not. So the guys, they're not dumb. They say, the winking didn't work very well. Maybe I got to work a little harder. So they do. Beef up their profile a little bit, find some really attractive women, because you can only write to the really attractive ones. Why? Because they're there. So they write to the most attractive women, and they talk about why she's great, why he's great, how much they have in common, and then maybe a 1,000-word autobiography about him. Right? Puts 20 minutes into writing an email, hours and hours, sends out a dozen of them. Nobody writes back. Why? Well, you're a woman, you got 289 emails. Do you want to read some guy's autobiography? Some stranger? Of course not. So his intention is pure. He's trying to differentiate himself, but it's not working. He's inadvertently coming across as kind of needy, a little over the top, a little stalkerish. Right? Not the goal, just the byproduct. So he says, well, if writing all these long emails isn't working, I guess it's what they say. It's a numbers game, so I got to play the numbers. So how do guys play the numbers? Dear Nancy, I read your profile, think you're attractive. Check me out. If you like what you see, hope to hear from you soon. It's a form letter. Cut, paste, send. So what do? They send out 50 form letters. You're a woman. You got options. You got 289 guys writing to you. Do you want to write to the guy who wrote you the form letter that he clearly wrote to every other woman on the dating site? Insert your name here. All right? So again, let's sympathize with these guys. Everything they're trying makes sense. The long stalker emails and the winks and the form letters. Just none of it's working. Right? So they're throwing a whole bunch of crap up against the wall. None of it's sticking. And they come to these conclusions, very logical conclusions. First conclusion is that women, right, most attractive women, are like rock stars. They got tons of people throwing themselves at them. It's really competitive. They're probably going to take their profile down first, right, because they're so inundated by responses, they get overwhelmed. And it's really competitive. And I know if I met her, she'd like me. This is what guys tell themselves. I know she'd like me if she met me, but I'm just not even getting a chance. I can't even get in the door. I got to meet him fast, right, before she disappears. And on the other hand, everybody's had the experience in online dating of spending a whole month getting to know someone and then showing up on the date and finding out that person lied about their height or their weight or their age. Right? That's endemic to the medium. So, well, I can't spend a whole month getting to know someone only to find out that they misrepresented, so what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to move faster. That makes sense, right? So, again, we're getting this reinforcement that speed is the answer, right? Speed and volume. That's sort of the going story for guys. The answer to successful online dating is speed and volume. So their next round of emails says something to the effect of, Dear Amber, I read your profile. I'm not really good at this thing. Let's see if there's chemistry. Here's my phone number. Text me. What are you doing on Saturday night? It's like all of it right in the first email. Let's go. Come on. Please don't disappear. Don't lie to me. Don't go out with anybody else. Please choose me. Attractive, huh? So this is how we see the kind of emails that we see in the inbox. This panicky, direct. It's all because guys are failures at online dating. This is the result. So guys become convinced that speed and volume is the solution to online dating. In fact, it's the problem with online dating. Remember the bad blind date slide? That's how you end up on bad blind dates. You go out with total strangers. That's the problem. Yet guys think it's the solution. This is why we need a paradigm shift in how we view online dating. So I stumbled onto this. I'm no genius. I was just a slut. And so I spent years going out with people, and people share things with you. You tell your war stories, and women would tell me about these guys. They'd show me their inboxes. They'd read me these messages. Right? It's astoundingly stupid, to the point that you can't even believe it's happening. Some guy's like, hey, you're hot. Let's do it. I'm competing with that? That was easy. So I figured if every guy was going to zig, I was just going to zag. If every guy is giving her this all-out verbal assault why she needs to meet him yesterday, I just spend a little bit more time writing emails and saying clever things and spend a little more time talking on the phone. And I had a completely different online dating experience than anybody I knew. Everybody else was talking about the failure. I got to pick people up at their house. I got to drive them home at the end of the night, first date. All because I put in a little bit more time up front. And so when I became a coach, I started to coach this. Very simple philosophy. I told guys, slow down. Every other guy's in a rush. You slow down. And it worked. And then I started to coach women. I told them the same thing. You're letting him dictate the terms. Slow him down. Give him incentives to please you. Give him incentive to court you. And it worked. And so this is what it looks like in a very simple Venn diagram form. I'm only capable of making a very simple Venn diagram. Men in general want speed. Women in general want comfort. And again, by comfort means I don't want to go out with a potential serial killer. Like, these are reasonable terms. We're not saying I need a whole month to do a background check on you, right? Men want speed, women want comfort, and the space between is a good first date where both parties are getting their needs met. I think this is reasonable. And so the issue here is that men, based on that inbox that I showed you earlier, are unintentionally making women feel uncomfortable. Believe me, all the guys who make you feel uncomfortable, it's not their goal. How could I make her life miserable? How could I say something creepy? It's never the goal. It's the byproduct of their failures, right? Don't disappear, don't lie, let's meet, let's see if there's chemistry, let's go. So imagine you're at a bar, you got 50 guys lined up to give you the phone number. It's overwhelming. And that's what happens online. Attractive women has guys just, let's meet, phone numbers piling up, right? It's not the way women like to meet men. So what's a medium in which women do meet men, where men have to make them comfortable before they get their phone number? I call it real life. You remember real life, right? Some of you do, some of you don't. I'm 41, so I do. Before there was an internet, you would talk to people at parties and stuff. And so when a guy talks to a woman at a party, he doesn't tap her on the shoulder and be like, hey, you're wearing red. I like red. Here's my number. It'd be a terrible way to meet someone. That's what people do on the internet. You have a dog, I have a dog. Let's go on a date. So how do guys meet women in real life? Well, you talk to someone at a party, you say something cute, talk for a half hour, it's real fun, organic. He says, hey, you want to step outside? It's a little more quiet out there. I'll get you a drink. She goes, yeah, that sounds fun, sure. They go outside, conversation continues, moves and darts and weaves, and an hour passes like that. Right? And then he looks at his watch, he's like, oh my God, I gotta go. I've had so much fun talking to you tonight. Can I get your number? I'd love to take you out later this week. And she says, yeah, that sounds great, thank you. Does everybody remember that? Doesn't that feel good? The connection followed by the date? Right now we've got it reversed. Right? We want the date and then we want the connection. So all I'm talking about tonight, in my very long-winded presentation before I get to my point, is that we want to make online dating feel like real life because real life feels good. That's the whole principle behind this. So how do we do this? I call it the 222 rule. I've been teaching it for years. It ain't that complicated. I made it up. It came out of my head. It's not one of the 10 commandments written in stone, so you could feel free to play with it. But the very basic idea is that you want to go 2 emails back and forth from each party on the dating site, 2 emails back and forth on Gmail or Yahoo, 2 phone calls, and a first date. The whole thing takes less than a week. Right? Not terribly complicated, not a tremendous amount of work, highly, highly effective. So how do we use this complicated 222 rule? Well, first of all, I think it's important to note, it's not about 222. 222 doesn't matter, right? It could be 531. No one's counting. Right? The whole point is that we understand each other. Men understand and respect the fact that women need a little comfort before they meet. Women understand that guys want to move fast, that they're entitled to that. Right? So this is based on a mutual understanding. Right? We're finding that point on the graph where it feels good to both genders. So it starts with having a good conversation on the dating site. Has to start with a good conversation on the dating site. Now, good conversation isn't that hard, except it is. Because, hey, what's up? Not good conversation. So what do you do for fun? Not good conversation. Right? Good conversation is about being inquisitive, being thoughtful, being interesting, right? Having opinions, having observations, writing paragraphs, not one-liners. This isn't texting. Right? If you're a good conversationalist, no one's going to say, man, screw this, I'm out of here. Good conversation sustains itself and it grows. Again, it's like being at a party. You're enjoying it. And when you make a good connection online, it gives you leverage as a woman to say, oh, by the way, Brad, what's your regular email address? I'll be in much better touch on Gmail. And you know what that is? That's, hey, let's step outside where it's a little more quiet. You're getting more personal. You're getting more intimate. You're isolating the person. He's talking to 10 women on OkCupid. He's talking to one person on Gmail. That's you. All because you said, hey, let's step outside. Conversation continues. He might say, hey, let's meet. You don't just meet. that brings us back where we started, right? You don't want to go on blind dates with strangers, so what you do is you schedule a phone call. Now again, I know people's resistance to this. Most people won't do this, but understand it's imperative. Because if you don't schedule a phone call, here's what's going to happen. You're going to start texting, right? Texting is the death of communication, right? It's ubiquitous. I'm not trying to put the genie back in the bottle and pretend it's not. The problem is you don't get to know someone very well by texting, right? Guarantee it. I could talk to you for 5 minutes on the phone. I'm going to get to know you a lot better than if we did one-line text back and forth for a week. Not even close. There's something about the nuance of communicating with someone live that texting leaves out. So you don't want to get caught in texting. So why schedule a phone call? Why not just, call? Well, you could pick up the phone and call. The problem is you're precipitating another problem that comes with online dating, and that's friction. Things go wrong. So I call you at 8 p.m., you call me back at 9, I'm not around. I call you the next day at 2, you call me back during your lunch hour. Suddenly we're playing phone tag. Suddenly it's difficult. Suddenly it's not enjoyable. We're losing momentum. You might give up, I might give up. That's the problem with I'll call you in general at some time, right? I'm around tonight at 7:30, can't wait to hear your voice, talk to you then. Set up an appointment so you just get it right. This phone call is your first date, right? This replaces the coffee date. If you have a good phone call, the guy earns a first date. I give advice to women, so it's always directed that way. So the value of this, right, very simple. Number one, you are screening. Screening is so important to avoid bad dates because if you're emailing some guy and he comes off as functionally illiterate, stupid, negative, difficult, abrasive, incurious, lazy, you don't go out with him. Ta-da, problem solved. You screen out all the guys who aren't good conversationalists, who wouldn't make you comfortable, right? If you're carrying your end of the bargain, it's great. And so the flip side of screening is relationship building. When this goes well, this is just like the cocktail party, right? It is. You're having a great conversation, and what's happening? You're building up trust, rapport, anticipation, excitement. This is the way dating is supposed to feel. Oh my God, I can't wait to go out with the guy that I've been talking to all week. Right? You got that? That's the feeling we're trying to evoke. So we enjoy dating once again. You would rather, guarantee, go on one great date on a Saturday night than 3 blind dates with total strangers. Guarantee. And that's all I'm proposing. Right? And the last thing, the surprising thing, this saves time. It sounds like a lot of work, 222. It's not. Emails take no time to write. And a phone call? I talk to you for 20 minutes on the phone and I want to put a bullet in my head because I'm so bored. Guess what? We don't go on the date. I don't have to get dressed up, drive across town, spend $100 and 2 hours on you. That's valuable, and vice versa. Right? If you have a great phone call, that's the first date. And so I'm not a Luddite. I believe in technology. I understand chemistry. I know people have objections. Guys are like, I could just text someone and I could get laid. I get it. The problem is people aren't enjoying dating. They're opting out of it, right? And I think women have the right to enjoy dating, right? There's not much to this thing, but at the end of the day, if you just slow down a beat, follow the 222 rule, go from email to the phone to the real-life date, you're going to go on fewer bad dates, better first dates, and evoke the feelings that you want that make you excited and optimistic about dating again. So please, give it a shot, try it out, let me know how it feels. I thank you so much for your time and attention.